So with the help of my therapist, I sent out feelers to the few people I did still know in the industry, because hot buttered rum was pretty small potatoes, and so I identified with her also that I really did want to go back and be a tour manager, but on a higher level and at a level where I could, make money and make it feasible.
State your name and occupation.
Sure. My name is Molly Foehl, and I am a tour manager.
When I sat down to interview Molly, I knew of her extensive resume. She attended Williams College in Massachusetts, she earned her master's in social work at Berkeley, and she worked long hours at her first job as a mental health case manager. Molly Foehl started out as a therapist, working with those with mental illness in the Tenderloin, but her training in therapy made her realize she didn't want to be a therapist.
I think the key to all of this, where it got me to where I am today, is in the sense that part of being a therapist, I kind of realized after the fact, this wasn't really cognizant at the time. I realized that I wanted to be a therapist, and I went into mental health basically to work on myself. So part of being a therapist is that you need to be in therapy yourself. And so I was in therapy during school and after school for about 5 years and did a lot of really good work on myself, and kind of came out the other end going, oh, I really don't want to be a therapist. I think I just needed to be in therapy myself. And what do I really want to do? And what I really want to do is I really want to work in the music industry.
Molly had a cousin in a band, and she remembers saying,
hey, I'd love to be your road manager. I think I called it a road manager at that point. And he kind of laughed in my face because I didn't have any experience or, anything. So with the help of my therapist and just some, deep thinking and even at that time, it seemed kind of not improbable, but just really challenging. Like, how do you even begin to get into that field?
She got lucky.
People say luck is when opportunity meets preparation kind of thing. So maybe there was some of that too, but it definitely felt like luck at the time, which was that I just happened to be at a party and saw a acquaintance of mine, someone I knew, and that I knew she worked on this music festival called High Sierra. And she said, actually, I think we're right about to hire someone to work in the office. Like, would you be interested in that? And I said, yeah.
Molly had various jobs in order to support herself in the off-season for tours and festivals, even taking a desk job with a water company in order to make money. But she knew that she would be the most happiest if she was on the road touring and traveling. The most influential moment in her career was working with Mavis Staples, who would later help link her with Bonnie Raitt, with whom she is currently the assistant tour manager and personal assistant to. How do you get your next tours?
What I do is just reach out to everybody I know in the music business when I need a new job and just say, hey, I've finished this up and, it went really well and I'm looking for my next opportunity and this is what I'm looking for. In some ways, be specific as possible. And, to go a little woo-woo, the work I did with my therapist was she had me really visualize what it is I was looking for and what I wanted to do. And the Bonnie Raitt job, it really was my dream job in some level. Like, people used to ask me, if you could work for anybody, who would you work for? Back when I was working for Hot Buttered Rum, and I always said Bonnie Raitt, but it always seemed very impossible. How would I get an in to Bonnie Raitt, And even when I got the Mavis job and they said that we were going on tour with Bonnie Raitt, I didn't think immediately oh, that means I'm going to work for Bonnie next. I just really didn't even think that.
So how did you end up getting the job?
Honestly, it was just this opportunity came up where we were on tour. I didn't see her that much on the tour, but we were at one gig in Idaho and Mavis was on stage and Bonnie was in catering. And I happened to be in catering. It just happened to be the two of us in catering alone, which was rare. And she was kind of venting about her current person and how she wasn't working out. And I just, in my head, it was just going, oh my God, Molly, you have to say something. You have to say something. And I just really just got up the nerve to say, well, I would love to work with you. So if things don't work out with your current person, just keep me in mind, A couple months later, when the tour ended, the manager called me and said, we heard that you'd be interested in working with us. And I thought it came from the production manager. And then I said, have you run this by Bonnie? Because the only time I talked to her about it, she didn't seem that into it. And she was like, oh, no, Bonnie's the one who called me. And like right after you talked, she was really excited that you really wanted to work with us. And so it was just this realization that if I hadn't have said something that one time, that may not have happened, So going for it and screwing up your courage to just, and putting it out there what it is you really want. Not that that's a guarantee that it's going to happen, but it's just kind of worked for me in a way, So, yeah.